All right, welcome to Module 4, Video 1. So this video is all about what the present moment actually feels like. This module is accessing the present moment. So I will be teaching you guys exactly how to access presence. We've talked about the importance of presence, why it's so important, how you can use it, and how to access more consciousness, how to basically control and direct the flow of consciousness. So now what we would like to learn and what I would like to teach you is how to access the present moment. So the simple answer is directing the flow of consciousness into this moment right here and right now. But this is somewhat of a process. So let me get into it. So the first thing is observation. So when we are in the present moment, the main thing we're actually doing is observing. So when we are in a state of full observation, without judgment, without mental judgment of the world around us, this is a state of presence. This is the present moment, right? This is the state of being within the present moment. When we are just observing without judgment, but most of us are judging everything that we observe within our present reality. And so a lot of it is actually a process of unprogramming certain things. It's not a new thing, right? The present moment is always here. We've always been in the present moment, but we have conditioned ourselves to remain in thought instead. So we basically need to deprogram ourselves from this state of thinking all the time into the state of presence and bringing us into the moment instead. So the best way to actually start doing this is observing the mind. As you observe the mind, you will enter the state of being. And as I talked about in the last video, you can begin to pull back consciousness from thoughts, right? So you observe the mind, and as thoughts come up, you basically fully observe and comprehend them to the point that they dissolve back into consciousness. And you take that consciousness back and you increase your amount of consciousness and therefore your level of consciousness. So the state of being is something that can help you access the present moment. So once you get into the state of being and once you learn to maintain this state, then you can actually just maintain it, but with your eyes open. Instead of having your eyes closed, focused on the mind, you can instead focus on reality itself and observe reality itself. And this same state of observation within the mind is also the state of observation within reality. So we can access being by observing reality the same way we do our minds. And then so clear flow. So this is what it actually feels like. So when you have entered the state of being through the observation of the mind, right, you feel the state of being. That state of being is being in the present moment. Another way to view it, another way to look at it, another way to perceive it is clear flow. So whenever you're in the present moment, whenever you are fully grounded here and now, no matter what you are doing, it can be nothing, it can be something very complex and complicated, you feel this very clear and effortless flow, right? There is still resistance, there is still challenge, right? There is still internal and external resistances, pain, struggle, whatever, but it constantly moves you forward, right? You have this clear flow, this clear direction forward. And so even with all of these problems that come up, even with all of this resistance, it's still just a clear flow of energy and a movement of energy forward in a forward direction. So, and the other thing is universal bliss. So when you are in the state of presence, when you are in the present moment, you feel this universal bliss, right? This sense of wholeness or completeness that you don't get within the mind and you don't get anywhere else, right? You get it within the present moment. And this universal bliss is actually God or higher power, higher source, whatever, his energy moving through you, right? And this energy is moving through you because you are in the present moment here and able to access it, right? God is always within the present moment, but most cannot actually access him within it because they are not fully or truly present. So when you become fully present, this energy, this universal bliss, this energy moves through you and you feel it as this bliss state, right? So that's all for what the present moment feels like. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. All right. So welcome to video 2, not 3, 2 of module 4. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So how to get into the present moment. The first step is actually observing the mind. So when we observe the mind, this allows us to basically pull our consciousness back from thoughts and also allows us to enter the state of being, the state of observation, right? And so we want to basically do this constantly because this will help us more easily access the present moment. So awareness without judgment. So I explained this slightly in the last video, but basically when we have a level of awareness of the world around us, without judgment, with no judgment whatsoever, this is the state of presence, right? So we basically will bring ourselves closer to this moment by observing the world around us, but turning off the mind from judgment or assumption of what this is, this world around us, basically trying to define it, right? We stop trying to define the world and then we fully experience it as is. This is the present moment, right? This is how we begin to access the present moment and stay within it. And then, so bringing consciousness into the body. So another thing that we will have to begin to do is as we observe the mind, as we pull consciousness back from the mind so that it doesn't get sucked back in, we want to then direct this consciousness down into the body, right? Into the inner body, right? And you can feel this if you feel your body, and then you feel within that body, the inner body that you have. If you basically direct your consciousness into this body, it will ground you into this moment. Why? Because the body is A, where our consciousness is supposed to be, not the mind. And B, it keeps our consciousness within the present moment. Because the mind is what pulls us away from the present, right? And so when we're in the body, we become more fully in the present moment. And this is a process of concentrating on the inner body, and consciousness will naturally flow into it. And then centering yourself in the present moment. So you can do this through bringing consciousness into the body, through meditation, through breath work and exercise, and through basic deep breathing in the moment, but also just conscious or mental focus on removing yourself from the distractions of the mind and bringing yourself more into this moment right here and right now. So that's all for video 2. This is somewhat of a shorter module, but yeah, that's all for video 2. I will see you guys in video number 3. Peace. All right, so welcome to video 3 of module 4. So this was a bit of a shorter module because we're basically just talking about the practical aspects of accessing the present moment. So this module is more about action taking than me actually making the content. I'm sitting here thinking like, oh shit, am I like cutting these short or something? Like, no, the last 2 videos are only like 2 or 3 minutes. But it makes sense because this is all just the practical stuff, right? So this one specifically is all just practical stuff. So this one will also be pretty quick, but also very beneficial to you. So make sure you're taking notes and make sure you're going and applying what I'm saying. Otherwise, you're just wasting both of our time. So, video 3, practices to stay within the present moment. So, the main one that I've been talking about the entire course, and that I'll probably keep talking about in the next module and all of my other content, is meditation. So you need to be meditating. This is basic, this is essential, this is the beginning stage. If you are not meditating consistently, if you have not meditated before at all, you will be very stuck on a lot of these things. So, what you should do is begin meditating. Have a daily meditation practice and maintain a daily meditation practice. I would recommend at least 3 months before you even come and look at any of this stuff again. But if you'd like to rush it, 2 weeks and you could probably start to begin working on some of these things. But I would stick to 3 months. And if you would like to play it safe and get it right, 6 months will be your best bet. But 6 months of meditation, and you'll be at a stage where most of this stuff is accessible to you. If not at the stage where all of this stuff is accessible to you with a little bit of work. So basically meditation is essential. Meditation is the key to all of it. Meditation is how we train ourselves to direct our consciousness into the present moment, right? Literally, it is the practice, the training for presence and for maintaining presence. The next thing I talked about briefly in the last video, but I'll go over it again because the last video was quite short and this one will probably also be quite short. But pulling the consciousness from the mind into the body. So a lot of our consciousness is trapped in the mind, and this is not good. We don't want our consciousness to be stuck in the mind. Why? Because A, this is where ego lives. This is where ego controls our energy and our consciousness. The direction of our consciousness directly influences the reality that we experience, right? So when we have our consciousness in the mind and it's constantly playing these negative thoughts, these loops over and over again, we're basically remanifesting the same situation over and over and over again, right? And so what we would like to do is pull consciousness from the mind into the body. This allows us to be present, and this allows our life to actually basically be a free canvas, an open canvas, instead of it basically just being these loops that play over and over and over again, right? This happens because consciousness is trapped in the mind, not some universal force that just wants you to experience shit all day, right? The only universal force is, well, the universe, but that universal force is only giving you what you keep asking for, right? What you keep deserving to have. And so what you need to do is actually just change your thinking and pull consciousness from the mind, right? And by doing these two things, you allow yourself to align with a higher timeline, and you allow yourself to stop remanifesting the same old loops over and over and over again, right? And so we do this by, you can go and check out the last video for a little more details on it, but we basically just ground the consciousness into the inner body. You can also work with me one-on-one if you'd like. My DMs are open. You can talk to me anytime. But I can work with you one-on-one on this process as well. But basically, the idea is taking the consciousness, directing it into the body, and then we solidify it here. We ground it here by basically keeping our concentration and our energy and our consciousness and awareness right within that inner body. And as more and more consciousness enters the body, you will feel yourself almost become free, right? You will feel a weight lifted off of your shoulders. And you will basically need to program yourself to continuously do this because your mind will try to pull consciousness back. And then over time, you just learn to naturally direct it into the body instead. So the next thing is breath work of all kinds, and just deep breathing in the moment will help you to stay present. So if you notice yourself getting stuck in the mind, getting stuck in thought, is all you really need, right? Just a good deep breath, or 3, or 5, or 10, right? Depending on what state you're in. And you can keep yourself in the present moment. You can pull yourself back if you notice yourself slipping. And the last thing I have is focusing on a task / flow state. So basically when we focus on a task, and especially a task that's really important to us, all thoughts basically get removed completely. And we enter the state of flow, where we almost become one with the task itself, right? I would say I'm in a flow state right now. This isn't some profound experience. I'm just present. I'm just here. I'm just focused on the video, right? And I just love being here because this is a very enjoyable state to be in. So focusing on a specific task / being in a flow state is another way to maintain presence. And doing this on a daily basis is also very good for you in many ways. But the main benefit will be that you are used to complete concentration and complete focus, and this will allow you the state of presence. So that is all for accessing the present moment. This module was really short, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyways, and I will see you guys in the last module. Peace. All right. Welcome to Mastering the Moment, Module 5. So this is our last module for this course, and this module is all about what to do in the present moment. So the entire course has been training you on basically how to access the present moment, how to get into the present moment, how to access consciousness in full, and how to control consciousness. So now the last piece, the last step is, what do we actually do in the present moment? What's the point of being in the present moment? What are all of these awesome advantages that I keep hearing about when it comes to being in the present moment? So we're just going to go over all of those really quick. This first video, however, is just about manifestation practices. So basically, when we are fully present, when we have access to the moment and we've learned to maintain this state, what can we do? So one of the biggest things is journaling specifically about our manifestation, who we'd like to become, what we would like our lives to look like, what goals we have, how we would like to get to those goals, right? Deeply journaling about these things, and specifically doing this within the present moment, because by doing so, we actually solidify these things into our subconscious mind and into reality itself. And because we have our focus in the present moment, we instantly, almost instantaneously, actually create this manifestation, right? Because it is now physical, because it's on paper and we can see it. And because of our full state of presence, we are now able to actually go and then create it. And so just by writing it down, you have basically manifested it. Then by writing it down and continuing to focus on it within the present moment, it will manifest and it will happen. The next stage is visualization. Basically the same thing as what I just said, but visualization instead. So we solidify the vision into our subconscious mind on a deeper level because we're present, and then we also end up going and acting upon it now in the present moment because we are in the state of presence, right? And so by maintaining the state of presence, we allow ourselves to basically take these manifestation practices that we've heard about, that we know can be bullshit, and make them real and legitimate because we are here within the present moment. And now that we're here and able to access the present moment, access our consciousness, access our energy, we now have the ability to actually create the thing that we are envisioning. So the next thing is intention setting and actual pursuit. So intention, goal, same thing. Goal setting and pursuit. Basically, we want to set our goals, set our objectives, and then actually create a process to going and getting those goals, right? And so in the present moment, like I said, this is a much more powerful thing because we almost instantly get the urge to go and do it, right? Whereas when we are in the mind, we want to procrastinate, we want to push it off, we want to think about it before we do it. This is probably a common thing. I want to think about what I'm going to do with my business before I start working on business. And it's like, no. Do the thing and think about it as you go, right? Because when you do it in reverse, you end up thinking about it forever, but you don't actually take action. And then you don't come to a conclusion because you haven't taken action on any of the things you're thinking about. So you basically want to take action and adjust as you go, not make it perfect and then do it. You can't make it perfect until you've done it. So go and do it first. And then the last thing I have here is allowing the moment to bring you the very thing you need to work on. So instead of trying to manifest something external, trying to basically change your reality, trying to do all of this shit, the deepest way that we can manifest and the way that we can align with our manifestation the most and the easiest is by simply working on the very thing that the present moment provides to us. And so obviously for you, it is this video, right? The present moment has brought you to these videos somehow. But there is also probably another thing within the moment, if you were to turn this off, that would instantly come up. Or it might take 20 minutes, it might take 30 minutes, it might take an hour. But if you stay present for long enough, eventually the moment will just bring you something to work on. It will bring you something to work on. And the thing that it brings you will be the thing that you need to work on to make the most progress right now. So never ignore these things. Never ignore these challenges that come up in the moment because they are very, very, very important. And so that is it for this first video for manifestation practices. I will see you guys in video 2. Peace. All right. Welcome to video 2. So this one is the flow state. So another thing you can do when you have access to the present moment and you have like true control over your awareness and your consciousness, you'll be able to access flow a lot easier. So with consistent meditation and specific work with consciousness in the present moment and fully accessing the present moment, with these things combined, and even just a consistent meditation practice, it becomes very, very easy to actually access flow states. So now that you have gained this level of presence, you can now access flow states very easily. And so flow state is comparable to the state of full immersion. The state of full immersion isn't a real thing, but it's just a way of describing flow state. I don't know why I said comparable there. But yeah, so you could think about it as a state of full immersion. So you are fully immersed into the task. You are fully concentrated on the task, on the thing that you are doing right now. And therefore, because of this full concentration, you're able to constantly make real progress, real forward steps, real momentum. Instead of it being this constant back and forth battle of you kind of doing some work and then stopping for a while and then having to fight some resistance, do a little more work, and then you stop for a while again, and you may like start and stop and start and stop. And then you might stop working for like 3 days, and you might start doing some work again for a couple hours, and you might stop again, right? This has been a trend for some of my career where I've had like this on and off consistency. But also, another thing that I've experienced is flow state, is this state of full immersion where you're completely focused on the task. And I will tell you, I prefer this one for 2 reasons, right? The first is you make the most progress. You make way more progress and way faster. But also, it is much more enjoyable. It is much more enjoyable to be in a state of concentration. It is much more enjoyable for me to sit here and record these videos and just focus on recording these videos than for me to record some videos, go on my phone for a bit, come back here to try and record some more videos, and then go back on my phone. It's like, it doesn't work. It's this cycle back and forth, right? It's this battle almost to get yourself to do the work. And because it's a battle to even do the work, you can't really make progress in the work. So what we do is we practice presence, right? We practice this presence. And then now that we are in the moment and we are present and we have control over our attention, now we enter flow state. Now we can access flow state. And like I said, it is this state of full immersion into the task, where we can make the most possible progress. So another thing about it is this: when you are in a flow state, it is a state where you have no thought, right? It is a state in which you have 0 thoughts whatsoever within your mind, right? You have no thought whatsoever, and it is all just this task, this moment, what I'm doing right here, right now, right? And so this state of having no thought is a very, very blissful one, for one. And also, it is a state that is pure presence, right? Because there are 0 thoughts in the mind. And so we as humans, we're not actually created to sit around all day and do nothing, right? Our bodies and our brains are meant to be active, are meant to be doing something, are meant to be progressing in some way, shape, or form. And so the state of no thought is a very blissful one and a very beautiful one, but it is really only fully accessible if you are in a flow state, in a specific task. Why? Because we cannot actually enter a state where we have 0 thoughts in our mind if we are just sitting around, because our mind wants to progress in some way. It wants to do something. It wants to be active. When we're actively engaged in a task, now we have the ability to actually create this full sense of presence, this full state of presence. And so the next thing is, once you have started to get into this flow state, now we can fully enter into the task itself. So now that we have removed all external distractions, now that we have removed all thoughts about anything else other than this mission, this task right here, now we can actually fully enter this task, right? Fully access and enter into the task at hand. So what this will look like is basically, if you looked at my desk right now, you'd see I have 4 things on it. minus my phone on the complete opposite side of the desk. I couldn't reach my phone from here if I wanted to. Other than my phone on the opposite side of my desk, I have a larger desk. So like there's a lot of space on the other side of here where I'm not recording. So my phone is just sitting all the way over there. I can't grab it. I can't touch it. Other than my phone and like the one decoration I have on my desk, I have literally one decoration and it's a little like pyramid with some crystals in it that are supposed to help me focus, right? Just looks cool in the corner of my desk. Other than those two random things that have nothing to do with what I'm doing, but also aren't distractions in any way, shape, or form. So there's that. Other than those two things, though, I have 4 items on my desk. All 4 items are for my recording. I have my script, I have my computer, I have my light, and I have my mic. And my headset, I guess. That's literally it. I don't have anything else here. Nothing else to do, nothing else to focus on, and even my phone, I can show you guys. Okay, I guess I can reach it if I go and I lean in a bit. But my phone, this is my home screen. It's just blue. The only notifications I get are for Google Calendar. If you can see my widgets here, I have my reminders and my Google Calendar. I open my phone, I have 4 apps. I have school, which I literally only use for my business. I have PFit. I have my Fitness Pal, so I can record myself, and I have Medito as a timer for meditation. On the other page, I have Docs, Google, Gmail. I don't even have like the basic phone apps on here anymore. They're all like I have to scroll over to this section to get all of those. And then for my widgets, I have my screen time, my reminders, my notes page, and my balance for my bank account. And then I have Google Calendar as well. So literally all that's on my phone is designed to bring me back to focusing on whatever I have to work on. And so basically I have nothing in my environment that can distract me from work. I have nothing trying to pull me away from work. All of my devices are designed and set up in a way to funnel me and direct me into my work. My environment, my workspace, right? I came here, I got this apartment just as a workspace, right? I set up this apartment just to use it as a workspace, as an office, right? I don't live here. I don't sleep here. I don't eat here. Well, I have like some snacks while I'm here, but like that's it. I have like a bag of nuts that I'm going to eat when I'm done recording. I don't barely eat here. I literally just come here to work. And so this environment is set up as a work environment. And so my focus is completely onto this task, onto this work, because there's literally nothing else that I have to do here. If I was to stop recording right now, unless I was to decide to give up on the work I have to do for the day and go home, I would sit in my chair over there in the corner and I'd fucking stare at the wall, because there's literally nothing else that I would do here. So what this means is naturally I just focus on the task, right? Naturally I just focus on my work. Naturally I just go and I do the work. I do the recording. I make the videos, because that's all my environment is set up and designed to do right now, right? And this allows me to basically fully focus on this task, right? And so I can get more things done. I've recorded 3 modules today. This will be my 3rd module today. Each module has taken me about 40 minutes to an hour. So, like the last module was pretty short. That one took me about half an hour to 40 minutes. The first one took me about an hour. This one's taken me about a half an hour so far, and I'm halfway through it. So it'll be about 2.5 to 3 hours, pretty much straight of recording. The only breaks I've had are going to the bathroom in between videos, and I walked around the apartment between a video one time because I just wanted to reset. Like, that's it. Those are the breaks I have. Everything else is just focused on work, focusing on making progress. And so what this means is all of my attention, all of my energy is just directed straight into making this video and making this a good video, making this educational, making this something that can actually help you, right? I just took 5 minutes to go deep into my work setup just to explain a point, right? Because this is where my attention is. This is where all my energy is. And so naturally I want to do that. Naturally I want to maybe take I literally doubled the time of this video. This video would probably be done by now, right? Doubled the time of this video just to explain something deeply to you guys, just to make a point and make it something that you could actually visualize and see and like actually understand, right? And so because this is where my energy is, because this is where my attention is, right? This is what I'm doing. This is the work that I'm doing. This is where I'm putting all of my effort, right? This is my creation. So naturally, I'm just doing more, achieving more, accomplishing more in less time, right? And with less effort and energy, right? After I'm done here, I'm going to have so much energy. I'm going to have to go do something else, right? I'm going to have to go write some scripts, and then I'm going to have to go home and do my studies, and then everything else, right? I have to, because this gives me energy, and at the same time, it uses less of my energy because I'm in a flow state, because it's so easy and effortless for me to record here that it didn't cost me energy to get to the point where I'm recording. It only cost me energy to get in my car and drive here. That's it. So when I am fully entered into the task, when you're fully entered into the task at hand, what it looks like, what that means is that everything else is removed. All other thoughts, all other distractions, all other possibilities of what you could be doing are removed, are gone, and you are just completely and utterly focused on the task. And when that happens, naturally, we as humans naturally want to just work. We want to just go ahead and work. But because it takes so much work and effort to get to the point where we are focused and working, most of us don't. And that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest kicker, is most of us won't until we go to work, right? Until we literally go to an environment where, again, the only thing we have to do is the work. So basically the advice is set up your environment in a way that your work is the easiest thing you can do, or whatever flow state task that you're looking to achieve, right? It's the easiest thing you can do. And then what it'll look like to actually enter this state of flow is basically you remove all other distractions, everything else that is completely unrelated to the task, and you completely and utterly focus on that task specifically. And then you can use this state, sorry, I keep shaking the desk. You can use this state to get a lot more done, right? And how you would do that is basically just maintaining the state of focus, maintaining the state of flow through all of the work that you have to achieve. So instead of basing your work off of how long you can focus, how long it's easy for you to do, how much energy you have, basically just pick the task, right? So for me, I decided when I got here I was going to record the rest of this course. Okay, so it was very difficult to record the first 2 videos. I couldn't imagine finishing even that module, right? And then I pushed through, and I got to the end of that module, and I was like, all right, I got to be done here. I can't keep going. I turned the page anyways, and I kept recording. I did the second module. Now I'm in a flow state, right? Now I can keep going, right? Now I'm in a state where I'm completely focused, where I have actually done most of the work I have to do for today, and I'm ready to continue and finish the work that I have to do for today. But in order to get more done with this, we basically just continue to progress. We just continue to move forward, continue to put forth energy, continue to redirect our attention back here until we are done with whatever task we need to do. And as we do this every single day, consistently, eventually we get to the point where we're really good at this and we build up the skill, and so we can get more done in more short of a period of time, or in a shorter period of time. Right, you get more things done in a shorter period of time while utilizing less energy. And so then from there, we can utilize flow state to make more progress in our business, in our fitness, in whatever it is. So that is the end of video 2. I know this was a long one, but I will see you guys in video 3. Peace. All right. Welcome to video 3 of module 5. So this video is all about facing ordeals. So now that you are within the present moment, now that you have access to the present moment, the next thing that I have that you can do within the present moment is facing ordeals. So this is probably the biggest one. This will be the most challenging one, but it will also be the most important one. So how the moment will present you with a challenge. So when you are present, when you are fully present, when you are within this moment, it will not just be blissful forever, right? You will not be able to maintain this godlike, nirvana-like bliss state forever where you just feel amazing all the time. That's not how it works. That's not how it looks. That's not how it's going to be. What it will actually look like, what it will actually feel like, what it will actually be like is challenging. You will be faced with all of your deepest and darkest demons, right? You will be faced with basically your hell, right? Because we here on earth, we are facing and experiencing our hell, right? The Bible lied to us when it told us we might go to hell when we die or we might go to heaven. We experience one of two of those states, right? We experience one of those two states here within this world, within this reality, based on our state of mind, based on our karma, based on our being, based on our reality and our experiences, right? And all of these are controlled by who we are within. And so we are faced with this because we are within flawed. As human beings, we are flawed beings. We are grotesque and incomplete vessels, incomplete beings, right? And so we are not perfect. No matter how much you would like to believe you are perfect or close to perfect because you're on self-improvement or whatever the fuck, you are not even close. You have endless amounts of work to do, right? So to be honest with you, when you become present, you will very quickly realize you don't like it because you don't like who you are. And this is the truth, because if you really liked who you were, you would already be fully present all the time. But you don't. And so you avoid who you are through thoughts, through judgment of other people, through judgment of your reality, through blaming, through, like, for example, blaming God, blaming this situation and that situation, this, that, and the third, this person, that person, all of these different excuses, all of these different judgments, all of these things that we do to distract ourselves from the one thing that is really our problem, which is that we ourselves are not complete. We ourselves are not the people that we would like to be. And so when you become present, when you are present for a long enough period of time, the moment will present you with a challenge, right? It will present you with what I call an ordeal. An ordeal is a specifically designed challenge created by God or your innermost or whatever you want to call it. It was created specifically for you to experience yourself, to experience who you are, right? And you experience who you are by being challenged, right? I will give you an example of an ordeal I found myself in. I wanted to make progress in my business. So I got a job, right? As anyone who had no money and wanted to start a business would do. I got a job so I could make money for the business, right? So this year, in March, towards the end of March was when I started working again. So the job I have, they close for the winter and they have seasons based on when the weather's nice. So we did not have much of a winter this year, so we opened up a little bit earlier. So when we opened up, I started working again. And I started working, so this is a restaurant that I work at, and I was on dishes because we really just needed people for dishes, right? They needed help on dishes. And me, I had been there for a while, and I would have liked to be cooking by this point. I feel I deserved to be cooking by this point, but I wasn't, so I was on dishes, right? I was washing dishes. The one nice advantage of washing dishes was that there was a lot of free time, especially at this point in this season. So because we were earlier in the season, there wasn't much to do, so therefore I had a lot of free time on my hands. And me being me, I did not want to just stand around and do nothing during that free time. So what did I do? I read. I was reading, right? And so while reading, I had been reading about this exact topic, believe it or not. I was reading about this exact topic and learning about this exact topic. And what I had realized and come to the realization was that this was my ordeal. Being in that specific place and that specific job was my ordeal, right? That was the challenge that I was being presented and that I was meant to face. And the challenge was, the ordeal was that I was facing my own laziness and I was facing my own stagnancy, right? I had to basically see for myself my own stagnancy, my own pain, right? My own being stuck in this place I didn't want to be, but feeling like I had to be there for some reason, right? Feeling like it was the only way that I could move forward. But at the same time, feeling like I wasn't moving forward anywhere, right? Feeling stuck in place. This is an ordeal of earth if you are to research the elements of the spiritual elements, and if you're to research alchemy and ordeals, right? But this was an ordeal of earth. I was stuck, and I had to somehow figure out how to get unstuck, right? And so the thing that I learned was that I couldn't get unstuck by quitting that job. I couldn't get unstuck by making money in a business, by doing all these things that I said I was going to do. The way to get unstuck was to basically go inward and to change myself, right? I didn't change the situation. I still work there. I'm cooking now, but I still work there. And the thing is, I didn't change the situation. I didn't leave the job. I changed myself. I transformed myself within using this negative experience, right? Using this experience of feeling stuck, I made more progress by changing myself within. And of course, if you looked at me now, progress-wise, I don't think I've made it very far on self-improvement, in my business, in anything. I don't feel like I've made it very far at all. But I have gone through some deep and serious changes in the last few months, and these internal changes have allowed me to now progress in a way that I couldn't before. And now that I have this opened up to me, now I can go and actually pursue the right habits and actually go and change, go and transform, go and create the reality I'm looking to create and live the reality I'm looking to live, right? But what happened was, in order to get there, I had to face this ordeal. And so what I noticed was I was constantly trying to avoid being present within my job, right? Because I didn't enjoy being there. And so I learned to become present within the challenge, within the feeling of being stuck, because I couldn't change that, right? I couldn't change the fact that I was physically stuck in place, that physically I wasn't making any progress, right? But I could change myself internally in order to align with more progress, in order to align with this feeling of progressing, this feeling of getting better, right? And by doing so, not only did I get much better at my job, right? So I was already considerably a pretty good dishwasher, but I definitely progressed to a level where I am a very good dishwasher. And then the same thing when I started cooking, I've gotten to the point where I'm an incredible cook as well. And so I made it so I'm able to progress at a very extreme level, at a very extreme pace. But I couldn't change my external situation, which was the thing I actually wanted different, right? I wanted a different reality. I wanted a different sense of fulfillment, right? I wanted a real sense of fulfillment. And so I had to create it within first. And then now, because I've done that, I'm able to pursue the thing that gives me real fulfillment, which is this business right here. So why did I explain all this to you, right? I just took another 5 minutes out of another video to explain another situation of mine. But there is a reason. I am painting the picture for ordeals, what ordeals are for you. So the moment will present you with a challenge. And what this challenge will look like is something that has to do with you, something that is a reflection of you, right? So me, up until this point, I'd been making choices that allowed me to get stuck in my life. And then what happened was externally that manifested into my life. Now I was experiencing on a day-to-day that I was stuck somewhere, that I was stuck. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be living this way, but I couldn't seem to get a way out, right? And so I became physically stuck. And that physical feeling of being stuck, that physical ordeal, was a way for me to face myself, was a challenge that allowed me to see myself, see my own flaws, and then change them and transform them. And by changing and transforming them, you actually create, or you allow yourself to align with, a higher reality. So the present moment will present you with a challenge, whatever that challenge may be, right? And it may seem insignificant. It may seem like something that has nothing to do with you, but it is always directed back to you, right? It is always meant to be something that brings you closer to yourself. So when you find whatever this ordeal is, when you face whatever this ordeal is, well, when you experience this ordeal, you have to face it instead of avoiding it. Most people, when they face an ordeal, they run away from it. They hide from it. They look away immediately, right? This is what we don't want to do. This is what we are trying to avoid. We want to face this ordeal head on. And then by facing it, we allow ourselves to see both ourselves and our flaws, our egos, and the situation for what it truly is. And by doing so, we then allow ourselves the chance to overcome it. And overcoming it typically looks like changing, transforming yourself. And once we have done that, the ordeal will dissipate and the next one will come up. And this is the process of alchemy. This is the process of transformation of self, right? This is how we actually refine our vessel into this perfect being, by facing these challenges, these ordeals that we have, and then actually transforming ourselves as a result. Instead of blaming the situation, like I could have easily just said, yeah, fuck this job, right? It's this job. It's this place that I'm working at. I'm not making enough money here. I'm not making enough money because I'm working here, right? These people are shitty people because they make me wash dishes. I could have said all of these like stupid things, right? These are dumb things to say. But most people would go and blame the situation. I could have easily blamed the situation. I could have blamed the job. I could have blamed the people in charge of the schedule for not letting me cook more, right? I could have been all pissed and angry. But instead, what I did was I blamed myself. And not even blame. Blame is the wrong word. I put responsibility onto myself. And by doing so, I allowed myself to actually control the situation. Now, I now had full control over the situation, right? Because it was up to me to transform myself. And the why God or the present moment will test you is because you are seeking to achieve something. You are seeking to become someone that is great, that is higher than the average human being, right? I read a book the other day that basically defined human as a god, as a being of light, right? It described us, who we call human beings. It basically said we call normal people human out of respect, out of courtesy. But the real term for human, at least in this sense, the real way to describe an average person would be to call them an intellectual animal. Because really human means that we have completely integrated the soul. And none of us have integrated the human soul. So we are not actually perfect. We are not actually these great beings we claim to be. But we seek to. We seek to evolve. We seek to become better. And so God will constantly test us. And by passing these tests, we prove to him that we are ready. By failing these tests, though, we prove to him that we need more work. And so by failing tests, we end up in these periods of working on ourselves, of working on these specific things that are our flaws. God will present us with more challenges that will specifically cater towards these flaws. And then, once we have faced these flaws, God will test us again. We will face another ordeal. And this time we have to pass. If we fail, it's the same thing again. We go through another learning process. We get another learning lesson, and then we face another ordeal. By overcoming the ordeal, we get the deepest learning lesson yet. By not overcoming that ordeal, we go through another process of learning, refinement, and then go back and face that test again, right? And so this is the process of basically turning you into the being, turning you into the type of person capable of actually becoming this higher vessel, right? This higher being, right? Or just creating this higher reality, right? We have to be tested in order to make sure that we are deserving of these things. Because God will give us whatever we seek, but only if we are willing to align. All right, that's it for this video. I know I dragged it on a bit, but peace. All right, welcome to video 4 of module 5. This is the last video of the last module for my Mastering the Moment course. This has been an amazing course. I am really grateful and very glad to be presenting this to you. This last video is one of the last things that we can do within the present moment, and this is communication with God. So, first things first, how God actually speaks to us, right? How does God communicate with us? So one of the ways he communicates with us, and you can see the last video for an explanation on these, but the first way he communicates with us is ordeals. By presenting us with ordeals, with challenges, with specifically designed scenarios in order for us to go through a process of learning and understanding and mastery over ourselves. Another way he speaks to us is through numbers, through numerology, right? So an example is when people talk about seeing angel numbers. This is sometimes, most of the time, a real thing, right? So when we see angel numbers, when we see specific numbers, they are a communication, a message from a higher power in order to direct us a certain way, right? So this works for some people, doesn't work for others, right? There's other ways God communicates to other people, right? I'll get into those in a second. For example, I have seen the number 44. I can't even count how many times a day for the last 6 months. And I'm not even kidding. I'm not exaggerating. It has been, I think, almost 6 months, not quite 6 months. I'm not going to over exaggerate here. I don't think it's been quite 6 months, but it's been at least 5 and almost 6, right? Months straight, where every single day I've seen the number 44 at least once. I just saw the number 44 on the timer. I just saw 1 minute and 44 seconds. And I just saw 9:44 in the last video. And at the same time, I saw 8:44 in the timer for the minutes. And I have seen pretty much every hour 44 on the dot. I've seen 44 in just random things all the time. Yesterday, I was at work. I saw a ticket. The ticket was at 4:44 o'clock. There was another number 4 next to it. I can't remember what the number was for, but I'm pretty sure it was maybe the table number was also a 4. And then there was another 4 at the bottom of the ticket, right? So there was like 5 4s on the entire ticket. But yeah, so these are just like small, weird examples, but they go to paint the picture of, like, you see these numbers regularly, right? These angel numbers regularly, and you see them consistently, right? This is typically a communication or a message from God, right? So the number 44 in particular, what I've come to determine, and I always base what message I receive from an angel number off of intuition, but the number 44 is basically a call to action, right? So I've been seeing the number 44 for months now. It is a call to action. It is saying, I'm finally ready. It's time to act. It's time to do it. It's time to go, right? And so that's a specific message telling me to go in a specific direction, right? This is how God communicates. He gives you a specific message to guide you in a specific direction, and it's your job to actually go and do it. It's your job to actualize on it. And so he will speak to people in specific ways based on how they will understand it. So another way I speak to God, another way that I have spoken to God in the past, is just direct, right? Direct communication. When you're in the present moment, you can have direct communication. And I'll get into this in a second. I'm pretty sure I have a... No, I don't. Okay, never mind. So direct communication is another one, right? Where he will actually just speak directly to you, and you will speak directly to him through your mind. When you are in the present moment, you have access to this power, where you can just speak to God and you can just be guided directly by God, right? And so for me, I just always ask my higher power, my intuition, my God, what is next? What do I have to do? Whenever I'm stuck, I just say, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And it's not usually what I want to hear, but I'm always given a direction. I'm always given a specific purpose. Like, yes, here, this is what you do. Usually isn't what I want to hear. Usually seems too easy, but it is always the direction that you're supposed to move in. And so the other part, well, let me go into, so I covered ordeals, numerology, just direct communication, speaking to you through the mind, through thoughts. I believe that's it, but there are other methods, right? I'm not going to say those are all of them. Those are all of the ones that I can personally think of. I'm I'm trying to think. I know there is one more that's like right on the tip of my tongue. But basically ordeals, numerology, energy. Sorry, there is another one. Energy. Energy is another way he will communicate with you. So when you feel these intense bouts of energy, emotions, basically being pulled in certain directions, this is another way God will communicate with you. This is another form of God's communication with you. So the next thing is how you actually respond back. So the best way to respond is just action, right? So when you get this communication, when you get this message that says do this thing, or pursue this thing, or be this way, right? Immediately act upon it, right? You don't have to speak back to God, right? God already knows what you're thinking, already knows what you intend to say, right? You don't need to do any of this. You simply just need to go and act, because that's all he cares about. That's all he wants to see, is that you act upon the thing that he directed you towards, right? And by doing this, he will open your reality up to certain situations, certain realities, certain opportunities that will then bring you and carry you towards your goal. And so if you do decide to consciously respond, like if you're talking directly with God, you get this direct communication, which I think, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure very few people will actually be able to do this. But I could and should be wrong, because this seems like a very natural thing for me. So I'm sure that you could, but don't be discouraged if you can't, right? Don't be discouraged if you can't like go and ask a question and not get a response. It just means that your communication with him is different. You just need a different form of communication, or your alignment isn't close enough to his. So if you don't align with God enough, right? If you're so far off the deep end that your internal alignment cannot actually bring in and receive these messages, then you just have some work to do first before you can have this direct communication. That's all. But if you can have this direct communication, and you do, the only real way that you should respond back, like the only real thing you should respond back, never talk back, never argue, right? That's so stupid. Don't argue with God, right? But when you do respond, simply respond with gratitude. Simply respond with gratitude. Say, thank you for guiding me. Thank you for showing me this. I will be sure to act upon it. And you don't even have to say that, because he knows if you're lying. He'll see if you're lying, right? And so you simply just respond with gratitude. I'm appreciative of this insight. And then you go and do it. Acting upon it is the real way to respond. And then, so you can actually use, so you can use this to gain guidance and insights at any time and any moment, right? So if you are present, if you are fully present, and you find yourself stuck, or you find yourself trapped in some way, right? You can simply ask, speak to God, or if it's like writing that you need, whatever it is, right? Me, I'll either say it out loud or think it out loud, right? So you just ask, why am I stuck? What am I stuck on? What do I need to do next? Where do I need to go, right? And typically, you will be given a path. You will be given a direction. You will be told an action, or a state of being, right? So if I were to sit here right now and be like, all right, God, so what is my direction? Where am I going? He's just telling me focus. Literally, that's what I heard back, is focus. Because all I need to do is focus back on the task I'm doing right now. Right, what I'm doing right at this moment is exactly what I need to be doing. And so he just tells me, focus back on your task. Literally just keep doing the work. Literally just finish out your video, right? And if I was distracted, let's say I was lost, right? He would tell me to come back to this. Or he would tell me meditate. He would tell me journal. He would tell me, we'll go for a walk, right? Just, it doesn't matter what the response is, but he would give me a specific task that will, like I said, open up a door. open up a new opportunity for me, right? So as insignificant as these may seem, they are tasks that will open up opportunities for you. They will open up your reality to certain things. And so, like I said, you could use this at pretty much any moment, anytime you want, anytime you feel stuck, anytime you feel lost. And then what you can do is you can use this to find your path. So if you say, hey God, I have this intention, I have this desire, I have this goal. I want to achieve it. How can I get there? What is the path to get there? What is the thing that I can do to bring me to this goal, right? And you will receive the specific insight necessary to bring you closer to your goal, right? To bring you towards your actual intended goal. And it may take some time. It may not look exactly how you want it to, but that's how manifestation works. All you need to do is follow the instruction, follow the guidance, right? Ask for the guidance, but then listen to it. Don't ask for guidance and ignore it, right? So that is all I have for this video and this course as a whole. So I would love to see some comments in the community telling me how much you guys enjoyed this course. And other than those comments, you guys can always come and DM me and talk to me about anything you have questions about, any things you may be stuck on, any of it, right? Just come and DM me and talk to me. We'll have a conversation. And you can also go and look at my 1-to-1 training and my 1-to-1 coaching if you would like extra work on some of these things. But that is all I have for you guys in this entire course. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys gained some valuable insights. I hope you guys got some good notes, because I would be pissed if some of you guys watched this without notes. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And peace.